This video is for the Christians out there. Now me, I like the religion. No, I don't. I like the Jesus. There's a lot of people who believe that they can say they're sorry to Jesus after they're dead. There's a lot of people who think that they can find the time right before they die to tell the Jesus that they're sorry for the sins that they've committed. Will Jennifer Farina Bollinger have time to say, Jesus, please forgive me for what I did to Sean Schwartz? Will Victoria Fundberg have time before she gets to meet her maker to say, I'm sorry for what I did to Sean Schwartz? Will Danica Garner or Kara Johnson, the Jesus says to profess by mouth? Now, the Catholics believe you should profess by mouth to who? Well, apparently to a preacher or a priest. I'll say my sorries to the people that I wronged. At the same time, these people aren't even willing to admit that they did wrong. That's what shows that they're not real Christians. Most Christians are not real Christians because they do not follow in the footsteps of Jesus. I follow the footsteps, but I think he's a dead dude. I honestly believe that Jesus died 2,000 years ago. Well, just short of 2,000 years ago, but we're getting pretty close. If you follow Jesus' example, well, there's a lot of people like Russell Huggins. Well, I can't cure this and I can't cure that. Really? You can use that as an excuse to just rampantly sin? Just because you can't spit in a man's eyes and heal his blindness doesn't mean you can't do something to help. All these people, I continue to speak out about them for a reason. They're not willing to admit their wrongs. Shannon Alvarado, I love her. I really do. Not in love. I don't fall in love. Jamie Curtis cured me of that. But Shannon Alvarado is afraid to admit she's an alcoholic and that she doesn't think right or function right when she's drinking, or that she drinks every single night. This is not stuff that she's willing to bring up. She's not willing to bring up that she gets abusive to her boyfriend every time that she drinks, or he drinks with her and there's a 50-50 chance that they might have sex instead. She accused him of cheating for 4 days straight, then she had sex with him, and then she accused him of cheating for another 4 days. Meanwhile, something to note is that her son is learning this as a coping mechanism. Drinking alcohol is how you cope with this. Drinking alcohol is how you cope with stress. For me, speaking out is how I cope with stress. I say, hey, this is wrong. And I continue speaking out. I don't care what color your skin is. You're a human being. I don't care how much you weigh. You're a human being. But I did notice that the pretty people are the ones who are worth listening to. It's a popularity contest. That's why when somebody is falsely accused, people want to get in good with that crowd. Oh, yeah. Rose, are you going to come forward about Ted? Danica, are you going to come forward about Ted? Shelley, are you going to come forward about Ted? I didn't think so. Alycia Bollinger, you need to tell the truth. You can go before the Jesus. You really think he's going to give you an audience? I don't care if there is a heaven. Whether or not there is a heaven doesn't have any bearing on planet Earth. This planet is what we make of it. The world will only become a better place when we work together to make it a better place. If you want to be an asshole to black people and think it's all right because you're not black, you're just an asshole. If you want to pretend like black people deserve it because there's black on black crime, well, there's poverty on poverty crime too. Like me, I definitely do everything I can to try to help the homeless. But that's not all I do. I also have to pay attention to the fact that homeless will steal your shit same as the police. Same as that college kid whose daddy taught him that homeless people all deserve it, they all chose it. Meanwhile, his daddy made sure that he got set up so that he wouldn't end up fucked from the get-go. See, when you end up with fucked up credit because you start off with absolutely nothing, and you're trying to do everything with absolutely nothing, and you have to try to get all of these things that most people have right out of high school, it fucking sucks. Most of the kids I went to high school with, they had between $3,000 and $18,000 that was given to them as a gift for graduating. Most of them had a vehicle. Most of them had a driver's license when they were 16 years old. Most of them had a roof over their head. Most of them had somebody else who helped to cover the bills. And they were able to get something started because of that. And a lot of them squandered it. Me, I had to work without that. I had to work on the kindness of others and the fucking badass work ethic that I had. But then I had a lot of really shitty bosses. Now, Gary Jepson, that's a good fucking boss. Gary Smith, well, that's a terrible boss. He didn't pay me for 9 days, and when he didn't pay me, it ended up costing me $250-something in late fees. But he's not going to pay that. Meanwhile, where was most of his money going? He spent over $250 on alcohol in that period of time. Meanwhile, where did that money come from? Well, that money came from Heather. That was his wife. She had a son. They lived right across the street from me in Chapel, Nebraska. And Heather, her son, almost got ran over by a semi outside of the house because he got excited because he saw me at my house and wanted to run and say hello. Well, long story short, Gary's uncle was married to Dennis Dickinson's wife, or Dennis Dickinson's mother. Dennis Dickinson's mother died. She froze to death in her vehicle. Just about a block from her house out in the country. So Jeff inherited a whole bunch of money because she died. Jeff spent all of that money trying to get Gary's strapping business going. The problem is Gary doesn't know shit about strapping and he doesn't know shit about money management. So they didn't pay me on time more than once. That wasn't the first time that it cost me money for them to not pay me. Matter of fact, my last paycheck I never got. And that sucked for me. Then I had that boss up there in South Dakota. He did carpets. Or no, not carpets, tiles. And I worked for him, and he wanted me to spend my first paycheck to get my vehicle all the way down in Boulder and bring it all the way up there to Montana, Bozeman. And that was the deal for me getting the job. I had to go get my vehicle. Well, not only did I get my vehicle and keep in contact with him every single day, because I met him when I got my teeth taken out, but I actually showed back up there 3 days earlier than I was supposed to. Now, the day before I got there, and the morning that I got there, this guy had been in conversation with me and in contact with me and let me know I still had a job. Well, then when I got there, he was like, oh, yeah, well, you got to do this and you got to do that, and I'm at this job site in Yellowstone, and I can't use you for another 6 weeks. So I literally did all of that work so that I could take my vehicle up there, and that used up all of my money. So on my way back to Boulder, my vehicle broke down on the Little Bighorn River. Woohoo! In Jesus' name, right? Alycia Bollinger could have told the truth. Instead, it became a popularity contest on fucking Facebook. Let's see, is there more likes for people who hate Sean or more likes for people who like Sean? Oh, there's more likes for the people who hate Sean, so that's the side I'm taking. Well, unfortunately for you dumb bastards, you were wrong. You were wrong a lot. You were wrong to harass me for killing Natalie because I didn't. You were wrong to harass me for raping Natalie because I didn't. You were wrong to harass me and to threaten my life for molesting Natalie because I didn't. You were wrong to threaten me and my life and my friends' lives and my family's lives for stalking Natalie because I didn't. Now, just because I'm pissed off doesn't mean I'm not going to fight for the right thing to be done. Now, there's a lot of people who are pretty gung-ho until they got something. See, there's this young woman, all right, she's pretty old now, but Christina Lushinger, or Christina Buhit, depending on what she wants to go by. Now, she was all fucked up on heroin, and Ed Simmons was all fucked up on heroin. They had a kid together, by the way. And yes, I know their kid's name. But between the two, I only have respect for one of them. And that's Ed. That's because he cleaned his shit up and decided to be a parent. Now, Christina, she got free shit. See, she was all gung-ho until she got an apartment. She got an apartment from the state. And she's afraid of losing it. That's the point. I don't give a fuck if I lose every goddamn thing I have. I'm going to fight for your fucking rights. And you want to stand there and watch because it's not fucking popular. Or you want to tell lies because it is popular. It's popular to hate Sean Schwartz. Well, Adam Klein, when you go before your maker, are you going to talk to him about, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do those things to Sean. I really am sorry. I didn't mean to. Everybody else was doing it. Fucking dumbass. How about Mr. Braxton? Yeah, what a fucking coward. How about Ted Bollinger? There's another coward. By the way, I am in Wyoming. There is no professional fighting class here. Professionals can fight against amateurs. If you can find yourself a professional in my weight class, I can pass a whiz quiz. If you cowards can't come here and keep your word to kill me, or keep your word to beat me up, well, that's the thing. You can come fight in a ring here, and I can defend myself without going to jail for it. I want you cowards to come get me. I want you cowards to step up to the plate. Now, what you guys are doing is hiding behind each other and ganging up on a dude who really can't defend himself. If I defended myself against Derek Apodaca when he had assaulted me, I would have gone to jail. Because although we are both homeless, I'm the one who is painted as a villain. Meanwhile, this guy's a child molester. Woohoo! Go Derek! And we had a lot of mutual friends, but I don't care how many mutual friends we have, he's still a piece of shit. These people want to take sides based on popularity. It's unpopular to be my friend because I have panic attacks. And I tell you what I have panic attacks over. Now, Shannon Alvarado doesn't believe in Jesus. I absolutely believe in Jesus. I don't just believe in Jesus. I believe in the way that he treated others. Now, saying that the man didn't exist, all right, fine. Let's say Jesus didn't exist. Is that any reason to pretend like his example is a bad one? Jesus had a sermon once where he was talking about all these different groups that are going to die. The gays are going to die, and the women are going to die, and all these different people who are going to die, right? And really, he doesn't say gays and women are going to die, but close enough. There's a lot of people who hate women and want women all to be subservient, and they try to use that. There's a lot of people who want to pretend that homosexuals are all evil people, so they're going to try to use that. And these are religious people. Religious people, not spiritual. Their excuse for doing the evil things that they do is Jesus. They can do these things. They can sin their whole lives. Meanwhile, they all have shame. These people all do the terrible things that they do over shame and embarrassment. How embarrassed is Ted Bollinger now that people know he was a child molester? How embarrassed is Ted Bollinger knowing that he stuck his fucking dick in his own daughter? Meanwhile, he's got a brother named Troy. Troy did the same thing. Now, with Troy's name not being all up in all these Natalie Bollinger groups, how is it that I know his name? Natalie told me. He also did drugs with her. I'm not ashamed of the things that I had to do to defend myself. I had to defend myself. But not just for me, for all of these people who stabbed me in the back as well, because these are our rights. Right now, what I'd like to be doing is going through all of this information and typing out my story and taking all the screenshots, writing little numbers next to the portion of the story where those screenshots coincide, and labeling them all. Now, there's a lot of the evidence that I don't have. I don't have most of the evidence that happened in all those places where I was assaulted by the government. They won't allow me most of those. I got lucky when they released the ones about me being assaulted in the hospital. These guys tried to punish me and torture me into a reaction. They knew exactly what they were doing. Now, these folks who are saying you're not autistic, well, these people went through the handbook of what not to do to autistic people and did those things. And then when people say you're not autistic, well, fuck, you should look at the evidence. These police officers were not after the truth. They were after suppressing the truth. Me, I believe the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth should come out. And we talk about that in court. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Meanwhile, all of that courtroom, all of our laws are based on suppressing it. What's allowed and what's not allowed based on who did it. If the cops say it, it's all right. If an inmate says it, it's not. The inmate must be wrong because they're an inmate, and therefore they are not trustworthy. The police officer has a badge, and although he's taught how to torture people to get an admission, well, he must be right. Even though he tortured you to get that, he must be right because he has the badge and he went to school. Meanwhile, what do they teach them in school? They teach them things like pain compliance. What is pain compliance? Well, when we do it to people in Guantanamo Bay, we don't call it pain compliance, we call it torture. But it's okay because they're not American citizens. Meanwhile, there's international outrage because we're doing this to people who are not American citizens, people who we call terrorists. So it's not okay worldwide for America to do this to terrorists, but it is okay for them to do it to their own citizens. In Jesus' name, gay men.